Akia, the girl from Bali, spreading her love like a warm gentle breeze. Oh yeah, she dances through the streets with.
Hey friends, it is a very beautiful day in Bali, and this is me taking my 10 minutes, well, holding myself accountable to have 10 minutes outside in nature, because I've been working on a project that I've just been so excited about, or creating something that I've been very excited about. And as I've been in the process of creating it, it's made me think a lot about my relationship to work and my journey with working in life. And I thought a lot about what I was doing before I left America and what I'm doing now, and how drastic 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 how drastic those two things are in the space that I'm in as far as work is concerned. When I was living in America, I was a product development manager. I worked in buying and retail and all of that good stuff. And I was working in corporate America. And I would never do that again to myself. Like, I literally will never do that again to myself. I was drained. I was stressed out. I was anxious. I did not have the space for myself or for the people I loved. I had to refine my life to fit around that system. And by that system, we call it different names. Some of us call it capitalism. Some of us call it the rat race. Whatever we're calling it these days. But that system where we essentially lose ourselves or our connection to ourselves trying to survive, because there is so much fear around what happens if I don't have this paycheck, what happens if I don't have this cushion, how will I eat, where will I sleep? And especially in parts of the world where that is like it really is something that we have to think about constantly. And if we're constantly in survival mode, and if our root chakra, which is responsible for safety and security, is challenged, then how can we access the higher versions of ourselves if we literally are always in this mode of how can I survive? Like, no one is thinking about, I would like to do something that I actually enjoy, unless you obviously have, if you grew up in an environment that allows for that space. But most of us are, especially where I come from, it's a lot of surviving going on. It's not a lot of doing what I love and doing what serves me and doing what is actually in alignment with me. And how do you know when something is in alignment for you? You actually enjoy doing it. You feel happy to wake up and do it. You feel excited to learn more about it. When you come into a challenging moment, you feel so moved to work through it, and it's not something that's depleting you of your energy constantly and something that you want to give up on. It's something that you really want to be with and you really believe in it, and it's just like nothing can stop you. It just feels like you have such a force behind you that also wants you to see it through. There is not emotional, physical, and spiritual warfare going on within you. That's how you know. And I think it's so simple that we miss it. Like, we wake up for these jobs, and we wake up and do these things that we literally can feel in our body that it's not right, but yet we numb ourselves and we do it anyway. And then we constantly repeat to ourselves over and over and over that we have to do it, that we have to do it, that we have to do it. And then we end up doing it for so long until what? Until when? Like, what's the end goal of that? Just to survive for the entirety of our lives and never actually be able to even have a peek into, our natural capabilities and what we can do, or maybe how we can serve life and how we can serve others, and something that just flows through us. But instead we've created this system that is just draining us. constantly draining us and constantly making us feel like we're not enough, um, like we should be doing more, even when we feel we're giving our best. That, you know, we don't deserve to rest. That we have to work harder, and that we need to keep climbing and climbing and climbing the ladder until what? And at what cost? You know, it's at the expense of our, literally we're paying our, we're sacrificing ourselves to be a part of some of these things. When it feels like it's a no, then it's time to go to the drawing board and start, it's time to go to the drawing board and start making some changes. And that's literally what I did. I got a dry erase board and I went to the drawing board. I went to the drawing board because I said, this can't be it. Like, I would be surrounded by people at work, so many people who've been with the company for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, who are always complaining. Oh, I don't like it, I hate it, this is so bad, they're not paying me enough, this person got promoted before me, I don't want to do this the rest of my life, I don't have the time to do this for my family, I can't take time off for this is really important to me and I can't do just. And for me it was just like, do I want to do this? Like, is this the path that I'm going? During the pandemic is when I figured out for sure that I had enough. Like, that was the first time that I actually had the space and where I was just really contemplating, what am I doing? Like, I just felt so confused on how I was spending my life and my days in that cycle. And I think the pandemic just gave me that space where I was able to actually look at my life, and I was just like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't feel good. I feel drained and I feel just stressed out and I'm tired and I don't want to live like this. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So I decided that I wasn't going back. I mean, it literally had gotten so deep into my psyche that when I got to Bali and I transitioned my job into doing an online job, which I only needed to work maybe 3 to 4 hours a day, I felt guilty. I felt bad for having time. I felt like, how could I have all this time? Like, I shouldn't be able to rest this much. I'm not being productive. I should be doing something. I need to be doing something, because if I'm not doing something, then I'm wasting my life. And it was just all of these things that had been ingrained in me, and not just me, my mother, and then all of the generations before me. This whole belief system and concept and idea that this is the way that it is, and this is what we should be doing. We should be working tirelessly and constantly in survival mode to support ourselves. And now I'm just like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. I think that it is in place for us to have that fear and to constantly be in survival mode, because if our foundation is challenged, where we don't have safety and security, then we never get to unlock the other parts of ourselves, because we need stability and safety to be able to, you know, be curious about all the other stuff. If I don't know where I'm going to eat or where I'm going to sleep, what else am I supposed to be worried about? And what happens is that system gets us, like, just takes us so far to where we're constantly in this survival mode, to where we don't even look past it. And I think now I can see so clearly how I've been able to shed a lot of those ideas and concepts in that belief system that, you know, that is the only way to do it. That's the only way to go. And I think just being fed up and just hitting that breaking point of, like, I'm not doing this and I'm not gonna live my life like this anymore, was such I feel so grateful. I feel so grateful for all the things that led me to this decision, to not even want to touch that again, and just seeing how vicious it is and how it's not even like, once you pull the curtain back, it's just not even what it seems to be at all. I even remember thinking that, like, credit, just the stranglehold in the US with this idea of credit, and I thought that the entire world ran on that system. So I was always so anxious about my credit score and all of the credit stuff. I was so anxious. And then for 3 years, I haven't even thought of credit once. Completely just finished with all of the debt and all of that stuff. I just finished with it. And I gave the car back and just all of it. I didn't want any of it. And I was just so tied up in the idea of credit, and I didn't even know that like that wasn't a thing anywhere else. Like I have been away 3 years. I haven't even had to use credit. I haven't used any credit. I don't have credit cards. But it was such a thing there, and to get the credit cards and use them to pay the bills and have to pay them off. And if you made a mistake, oh my gosh, if you make a mistake with a credit card, you pay for it for a long time. And for some of us, we pay for the rest of our lives, the things that are on our credit. And it's just this cycle of just really fear. I know I had in my experience, there are a lot of people that were like, it's crazy, how are you gonna eat, how are you gonna survive? There's just a lot of projection, rightfully so, you know? Rightfully so, because if that's the way that a person is living, that's all that they know. And that's all that we give out. Our fears and our insecurities around our own situation, we project that onto other people. And I remember when I gave my 2 weeks notice, there was a woman that was like my mentor as I was working, and she supported me a lot, and she really did help me a lot on my journey in my career. And I remember I felt like I owed it to her to let her know that I just was going to, you know, see what was on the other side of that. And I sat down with her and I had a conversation with her, and I remember her saying, that is a terrible idea. I needed to think it through, and I need to really think it through. There was so much opportunity for growth for me. There were so many things that were coming up for me, and I just needed to stick around, and I just needed to stay. And if I left, that all of that was off the table and I could not come back. And I felt so scared. I felt so scared when she said that to me. And I remember talking to a friend and saying, I don't think I should do it. I don't think I should go. And my friend said to me, that woman has only known that all her life. For 40 years, she worked with the company. So for 40 years, that's what she knows. So you coming in and literally saying you're about to do something on the complete opposite side of the spectrum is mind-blowing to her. She can't even imagine what that looks like. So naturally, fear comes up. And I remember just feeling so much ease when my friend said that, and thinking, yes, you know, if that's all that someone knows, then what other advice could they give? And I feel like in that moment, it was just a lot of her own, again, a lot of her own fears and a lot of her own stuff that she was giving to me. And that happens along the way. There are so many people that will say it's not possible, that's silly, you'll be back, and all of that stuff. And I'm just like 3.5 years later, and I'm here, and I'm surviving, and I'm okay, and I feel abundant. And although this journey has tons of, you know, it's ups and downs, and it's a little bit of, you know, it's a journey. And I feel safe in this journey, though. I feel safe. My nervous system feels regulated. I feel mentally stable. I feel physically strong. I'm not stressed in my body and my mind. I'm not anxious in my thoughts. It feels like I'm in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing. Even when the going gets tough, it's just like I've already been here. I know it when that fear starts to come up, and when the naysayers and all the people, it's just like, heard it all before. Like, I heard it all before. There are moments when I feel scared, when I feel like I might have to hop back on Indeed and do a little, you know, what are the jobs, you know, what they're looking for out there on Indeed. But ultimately, every time that creeps in, something comes and it's like, nope, for what? For what? You already know what that side looks like. Keep going on this path. Keep going on this path. And I've been feeling so supported on this journey, just so supported. And I feel like the more I'm strong in my intention and what it is that I'm doing, and the more that I do what I know I need to do, then all the other stuff just fades into the background. It just fades into the background, and then all of the doors start to open on the path that I'm walking, and I'm supported in the offerings that I do give. I have opportunities that I couldn't have ever even imagined would happen. Now abundance to me has completely shifted in the fact that like I'm supported by all of life in ways that I just didn't notice before. Constantly being supported, and I always have enough of exactly what I need when I need it. I've been able to make and save more money on this path than I ever was on the other path, because I was in this cycle of working, buying, working, paying bills, working, and that this shift has allowed me to just completely change my perspective. Also, it's just opened the door to so much abundance. I feel like things that I didn't even know were possible. Honestly, I couldn't have even thought that they were possible. The way out of that is your courage and your bravery. There are also steps that you have to take to be able to, you know, to save yourself out of that. And I think for me, one of the main things that I did was I started to notice my habits and things that were keeping me in that cycle, just like my thought patterns or just daily things that I was doing. For example, when I was clear that something's got to change and I can't do this and I'm not going back to that job, I removed my TV from my room and I put up a whiteboard, a dry erase board in my room, and I started to plan. I was so sure that I wasn't going to do that and I was going to try something else. Since that 3.5 years ago. And so I just think like, imagine if I didn't have that courage to just walk through that, and you know, it blessed me. It was there because it needed to be there, and that part of the journey was useful, and I needed to see that, and I needed to experience it, so I honor that. And also, I feel so grateful that I trust myself. I trusted myself enough. I trust myself now, and that I continue to walk on this path without letting the fear and letting the propaganda and letting all of these ideas and belief systems that other people have just impact my life and my livelihood. Most importantly, like I said, my mental health, like just feeling mentally, physically sick of doing it. I don't think there's anything natural about having to be stressed out and depleted in order to survive, or having to sacrifice time with your family or care for your family in order to make money. Or just not having to sacrifice your health, the very thing that gets you through to be able to do the job, to be able to do the work, having to make sacrifices towards your health. It's a no for me. It's a no for me. And that's what I experienced. I take one step and then the next one appears. And I just keep taking the step. And I've been taking the step, and it's been working. It's been working in my favor, and I haven't fallen completely on my face. There's always been a hand nearby, or there's always been some support nearby in some shape, way, or form that has came in, you know, once I've done my part, and once I've given my best, and, you know, we do our best, we leave the rest to grace. I truly wish that whatever it is that you choose to do to support yourself in this life is really in alignment with the highest version of yourself, and it allows you the time, space, and energy to be healthy in your mind and in your body.
She dances through the streets with a smile on her face, bringing joy to all, no matter the place.